Welcome to One on One. I'm Greg Bassey, your host from the Salisbury Independent newspaper. It's a big day here at PAC 14. We've got Bill Chambers from the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce with us. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you.
Now, I was just reading my favorite paper, the Salisbury Independent, which is out today. The Year Economic Forum is coming up on December 7th, and it's someone who would never get to talk to really interesting people or smart people if I didn't have either a newspaper or a TV show. This is an all-star lineup of people who are going to be giving presentations, and I was really impressed, and I want you to talk about each one if we can.
Sure.
So where is it? Where is the event?
It's at the Academic Commons at Salisbury University, 4th floor, their brand new room up there.
Beautiful up there.
Yep, on December 7th, 8 a.m. sharp.
Right.
So get there, get your coffee, and get your seat.
And they'll let you in, but they give you that look if you're late.
Sometimes we give you the look.
But great panelists. The economy presentation, just by all the different economic directors of the 4 or 5 counties, that's impressive right there.
We changed the focus this year, and it will be this way from here on out. The Salisbury Chamber is a regional chamber. We have members from 12 different counties in Maryland. We have members from southern Delaware, Kent, and Sussex, and then all the way down to Northumberland and Virginia. So there's a reason those businesses and organizations find value, because the economic engine here is Salisbury and Wycomico County.
Right.
So this year we focused on southern Delmarva, which is Delaware, our lower 4 counties,
right,
and the peninsula of Virginia. And we've included those economic development directors from Sussex and Accomack. And Wallops is a big deal, and I think we're going to see some significant opportunities as Wallops continues to grow for Wycomico County and all 4 of the lower shore counties in particular.
It's funny you mentioned Wallops, because I've always said, like, my whole life, they said, well, Wallops is about to take off. And we're still waiting for it to take off. But if you look at it incrementally, it already has taken off. It's already an amazing thing.
It is. And, the fear several months ago about some downsizing there has been eliminated. And it looks like it's actually going the other direction much faster than I think people thought. And I really think the opportunities, if we sleep on this, Accomack is going to jump on every opportunity they get. And I think if we sleep on this, I'm talking about Wycomico, Somerset, and Worcester in particular, we're going to get beat to the punch again. So we've got to be aggressive and inclusive and find out what opportunities we can take advantage of as a business community. And
we've spent so much time trying to compete with these other counties, and it really doesn't make sense. As a collective, we would be much better off.
No, we are, and the collegial atmosphere that I've found with the economic development directors in the 4 counties is really key to moving us forward. I think the governor and a lot of folks in Annapolis recognize that this is really the next boom for Maryland, this part of the state. We just can't sleep on it, because we get hurt more when the economy goes bad here than anywhere else.
Right.
And so when we have a decent economy, we've got to be aggressive.
Right. So that group right there, it's just amazing to hear what they have to say, because they can really tell you the exact conditions, and they offer a forecast, obviously, of what the year is going to be. Then you got Dawn Veach from the airport, who everyone loves to listen to.
Yeah, well, Dawn is super. I'm sure there are probably 100 airports across the country that would die to have her running their operations. She needs the backing and support of the business community as well. Piedmont has been a great partner at the airport, but the airport needs to move forward. There's infrastructure improvements that need to occur. Water is finally going to get out to the airport. So we need to support and back that and make sure that the airport receives the kind of attention it does. We actually, a group of us went and met with some of the governor's staff last December about the airport, because we were concerned that the airport in Hagerstown was receiving
more attention
and money from the state.
Right.
And we had a great meeting with their folks, and the interesting thing that came out of that meeting was, at the end, they said, we're really glad folks from Wycomico are here, because to our knowledge, no one's ever come up here and asked us about your airport.
Right.
And it's not that we want a lot more state aid, we just want opportunities to compete. Hagerstown's a great airport. It's mostly a corporate facility. We've got passenger service here. As Dawn will tell us probably in her presentation, there's opportunities to partner with federal agencies here at our airport. So it's an exciting time for the airport, but I want to see the momentum just continue to ramp up.
Well, this year sometime, you and the Greater Salisbury Committee held an event at the brewery promoting the airport, getting the business community in. And at the end, people were pulling out their checkbooks to help the airport. And you guys were like, no, no, we just want you to know how important the airport is and what Dawn is up to. And people really appreciated that.
It is. I tell people, and I'm a lifelong Marylander, there are communities all over the country that would die to have this asset in their backyard. Don't take it for granted, because if it goes away, we lose passenger service, it's awful hard to get it back.
Yeah, that would be a real blow. After Dawn, Chris Perdue from Perdue Farms is going to be speaking. My golly, that's going to be exciting.
The agriculture industry is key. It's number one. It's numero uno. I grew up in Montgomery County, and folks over there just don't get it. And I'm not speaking to everyone in Montgomery County, but there are a lot of folks, elected leaders especially, in Montgomery County, just don't get what key asset the agriculture economy is to the state. So Chris is a great young executive with the company. Obviously has the name. Good TV commercials too.
He's fun because his father, Jim, is so cautious. It's so hard to get anything good out of Jim, but Chris will just spill it out.
He will. And I think his presentation, these rapid fire presentations, his will be filled with some stats, but probably some humor as well. You gotta laugh sometimes about stuff that happens in Annapolis.
He's one of those people I learn from him every time he talks.
Absolutely.
I mean, to be so much younger than me and not, he's just a kid basically. Yeah. He seems like, I don't even know how old he is, but I always learn from him. He's a really smart guy.
He's smart, and he's a real asset to that operation over there.
So that'll be great. Then you got our new Dr. Charles White from Salisbury University talking about college to career.
Yep, Dr. White of course, brings a wealth of experience and knowledge from his previous position to Salisbury. He really wants to ramp up the relationship between the university and the business community. It was already there.
Right.
Janet had done a fantastic job of doing that, and especially engaging the community and the university.
But it took her like 6 or 7 years before she did. And we'd sort of given up on her, but he's right out of the box, seems to get it.
He is. And when I met with him, my vision for the business community's relationship with the university is pretty basic. I really want this to be a college town, where the athletics and the arts are supported by the business community. And I think we have work to do in that regard. The same thing down at UMES, but really we're here in our backyard. And he agreed. That stadium ought to be full.
Right.
For every lacrosse game and every football game, and the gym ought to be full for basketball. And this ought to be something we talk about and we get into, even if we're not graduates. You get into it. I have friends on the other side that never went to University of Maryland College Park. They are rabid supporters. They're M Club members, supporters of the university, supporters of the arts and athletics. So we need to get that dialogue and that kind of momentum building here too, I think.
Yeah, I'll go up to Maryland football games and spend all day and spend too much money and cause all kinds of trouble for myself. But the product they put here on this field is just as good.
It is. It's just as good. And that's where I think we need to wake some folks up about that. It'll be a process.
Absolutely.
But he's great.
You talked about Wallops, and there's a presentation on Wallops.
Yep. I mean, they just launched the latest Antares rocket.
Right.
I think they're ramping up launch schedules. I think they're planning on 3 in 2019. I think it's interesting. I'm looking forward to hearing what they have to say about the plans as they go 3, 5, 10 years down the road.
And they've got kind of a little secret drone program down there that they don't talk about a lot.
You don't talk about it a lot. It's not a very little it's a big program.
Yeah, there's a huge runway back in the woods that's kind of hidden back there.
I hope, and I've asked that they address that. Of course, these are all 15-minute rapid-fire presentations, and I kind of got a lukewarm response, but I'm hoping that we get at least they can scratch the surface on what's happening with the drone project.
No, I Google Earthed it, and I saw it. I was like, "What is that?" It's like a runway in the middle of the woods. I was like, "Oh, we don't like to talk about the drone program."
There's probably one in this room right now. We don't even know it. So,
ion exchange. I don't understand what this is. That's to make it happen.
More tech oriented. I'm not as familiar with that side of the industry here. It's a growing industry, but I think it relates directly to potential at Wallops. So we wanted to include someone that's going to talk about that focus.
Cheney Enterprises, who's been in the community a lot, presentation building up the economy.
Yep, manufacturing, construction industry. Cheney's headquarters are on the Western Shore in Gambrills, Maryland.
Big in Anne Arundel County.
They have 5 plants here on the shore.
Yeah.
A lot of folks don't know that. You see Cheney trucks rolling around, but That's a real key to construction, and I think Cheney wants to ramp their presence up here on the shore. So
Right.
I'm looking forward to that presentation.
Yeah, they've been contributing to some local groups. To the chamber, they've made a big donation.
They are.
for an award.
We have their CEO on the
Yeah.
on the council with the chamber, Bill Childs, who's a dear friend, known Bill for several decades. So yeah, we want to see what Cheney has to offer.
Kristen Goller from the Civic Center from Parks and Rec is going to be here. They're going to be at your thing to talk about some of the programs that the
Tourism.
county is putting on tourism. Just what an amazing collection of programs they have.
It is, and they've combined now the Civic Center board and the tourism board,
Right.
which I'm privileged to sit on. So I think there's an effort now to look at repositioning the Civic Center, maybe taking the community center part of it a little bit out of the way and focusing more on athletic and entertainment events in combination with what they already do at the outdoor facilities. But it's a big engine in the county, and
Yeah.
everyone's getting on the ball with building these sports complexes.
Right.
It's a big deal, and we can't let our guard down on that, because I know, being in that industry for 32 years, you can't take any of that for granted. And the heads on beds and the restaurants and gasoline and all the things that take place when we have thousands of visitors here can't be taken lightly, because Wilmington will steal it if they can.
Right.
I know when I was in the business, if I could steal somebody from another venue, I would
That's
do
right.
it.
You did that in Prince George's County with the venue. Yeah.
We did. We had a venue there that, in fact, we had the National Poodle Show at my
Right.
place until it moved to Delaware.
Right.
Not to say I think we fell asleep on it, but they were with us for 8 years, and you know what? Lesson learned, we probably took them for granted, and they bolted for Delaware, and then they spent a year or two here in Salisbury.
Yeah, they were here for a while.
And we lost them here in Salisbury, and they moved. But that was a huge event. It brought in exhibitors from 25 foreign countries, every state in the United States, and they would spend a boatload of money in the jurisdiction. At least in Prince George's County, when we had it years ago, it was a $5 to $8 million economic contribution to the county over 7 days. So that's a lot of money.
Yeah, there was so much pressure to make it a profit center within the county budget. I guess it's closer. It is a profit center now.
If you build an arena or a convention center and you want to run it like a 7-Eleven, you're in
Right.
the wrong business.
Right.
They're not standalone profit centers. They're not intended to be.
Right.
If you can break even on your events or make some money on your events, you're doing really good in that business. But you have downtime, you have salaries. Those things are difficult to recover when you're not bringing in 7 days a week worth of revenue, and in that business you're not. But they're an economic engine, they're
Absolutely.
a tourism magnet, they're a quality of life amenity for a community. So they're really important. So
Right.
you can't take the Civic Center lightly or for granted either. I know Worcester had this vision to build this 10,000 seater out there.
Right.
And thankfully,
It's hard.
well, thankfully the state said, no, you got a 5,000 seater
Right, right
20
there.
miles away. Make use of that. So
Yeah. Plus the convention center in Ocean City, which the performance center there is so nice.
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
They've just got $20 million from the state to expand the convention center in Ocean City. So let's focus that. We're not building a convention center. We have this beautiful arena. It's been upgraded. So let's find out ways we can take advantage of opportunities with shows and touring acts and even conferences and trade shows.
Yeah, I've been ready to do some reporting on that because I think it's time. Because now with the alcohol in there, it's not the youth and civic center of our youth. It should be the Comcast Center or something like that.
I would love to see a naming rights
Yeah.
deal made. I haven't talked to anyone about it, but it's they're out there. And the worst thing I think you can have happen to a building like that is to privatize it,
Right.
and have a Comcast or an SMG or one of these big management companies come in, because you lose control over the programming. It doesn't really become a community asset. You've maybe wiped away your net losses annually, but is it worth losing control over the building and
Right.
the quality of what takes place in the building, staffing, food and beverage, all of it? So
Right. There was a little movement for that when about 15 years ago, the idea of making it more like the Shorebird Stadium. But I think the control is important.
it is, and I've been in buildings where they've privatized, and there are a lot of regrets.
Yeah.
Maybe not regrets with the elected folks, but regrets with the community.
Yeah, absolutely. So Kristen Goller's going to be there. Steve Leonard from the hospital. Gosh, to get the president of the hospital out there, that's a big deal.
Caught him at a weak moment, I guess. Steve's great. He's a great asset. And
He's one of those who doesn't like to go out, but when he's out there, he's great.
Steve is PRMC is an amazing
Another jewel,
institution.
yeah.
It's just, again, I said it about the airport. There are 1,500 jurisdictions in this country that would die to have the quality of PRMC healthcare. You don't need to go anywhere.
You don't.
Everything's here, right here in Wycomico County, here in Salisbury, when it comes to healthcare. And what a blessing that is.
Yeah.
So we have people coming in to this institution from all over the Eastern Shore. So it's Steve's great. He's a dynamic leader.
Yeah.
And hope he'll be there for a long time. But I wouldn't be surprised to see someone snatch him up in the next
Yeah, exactly.
years, so.
Yeah. But I can't wait to hear him talk too. John McClellan, our friend who does real estate, commercial real estate in downtown Salisbury, all over. He's going to be giving a presentation.
Yeah, John is. We have a lot of really smart young men and women in the region when it comes to commercial real estate. But John really has his finger on the pulse of what's happening regionally.
Right.
So we want him to cover not only what's happening in Salisbury and Wycomico, but what's happening in southern Delaware, where he has representation, and this whole Accomack potential with Wallops and what those folks down there may be thinking, because I know they're moving in that direction. A lot of these commercial real estate folks are heading south to look at opportunities to buy up property. So I think he'll give us a great overview of what it looks like, at least in the next few years.
He's a great source for me. Even projects that he's not in, he knows what's going on.
He does. I remember calling him one time, asking about the Wendy's on Route 13, and he said, "I know about it. I can't talk to you about it." So
yeah. And then last, Dr. Hanlon, Dr. Donna Hanlon, who's become a good friend of yours, I think, here in the last year. So she's going to be giving a presentation.
Donna will have her 15 minutes to give an overview. I'm sure she'll talk about her program, the Imagine 2020, 2022 rather. She'll have some time to do that, but then we'll get deeper into that when we do the State of the Wycomico County Schools luncheon on January 28th at Parkside. That's where we'll really start to peel away what her budget projections look like, what she'll be asking for FY 2020. And our Government Affairs Committee will have a series of questions for her to try and garner some additional information about what we need to do to keep pushing the ball forward when it comes to investing, not funding, not spending, investing in education.
Now, our producer, Tom Taylor, and I interviewed, I think, 42 people here in the election season, and all of them got the same question asked. Business community suddenly is very much in favor of education. It's all being coordinated. It's coming together. We have an education foundation now. Where are you on funding for education? And that's an issue, Bill, that you put before our community. So I want to salute you for that, because it's a question that's been needed to be asked for a long time, and it's being asked in the right context and the right timing now. So thank you for that. But where did that come from? How did it hit you that this county needs to ramp up its education?
It's I'm 60 years old, and I went to a combination of public and private schools when I was a kid, and I attended University of Maryland College Park. And I, at a younger age, saw the investment that was made in Montgomery County schools. When I was a kid, grew up in Montgomery County, Maryland, they were some of the worst schools in the state.
Yeah.
Prince George's at that time had the best school system in the state. That's changed a lot now, and I saw as in my 20s what an investment in not just physical plant and infrastructure, but the academic environment, what that did and how it helped Montgomery County become what it is now, which is the business giant in Maryland. In Calvert County, a smaller rural county where I spent 3 decades, again, one of the worst school systems in the state. And once investments in education and really the academic investment, I want to be clear on that, keeping bricks and mortar and infrastructure are vital to the learning environment. But if you don't take care of what's inside that bricks and mortar, you're not going to have a successful school system. And so investing in teachers, investing in the academic materials and resources that it takes, investing in the community with parents, encouraging PTA participation and leadership in the process, having really good, smart, educated people serving on your Board of Education, especially if they have children in the school system, as I did when I served my 4-year term. Both of my kids were in the public school system. I felt like I had a better opportunity to learn because I had feedback from 2 kids every night at the dinner table.
Right.
And I felt it was an obligation that I had to serve the community while I had children in the system. It made sense. But I know when I saw Calvert County go from near the bottom around 2000 to number 1 in 2008 and 9,
right.
We had businesses that were not located in that peninsula, It's got nothing going for it, Calvert County.
Right.
There's no interstate highways, no airport, there's no rail service. It's a peninsula. But I saw the influx.
Some nice beaches.
Nice beaches. But the influx of businesses, small businesses that wanted to be in that county because of the school system.
Right.
That was their number one reason for moving from Anne Arundel, Howard, Baltimore, Northern Virginia. They wanted their kids attending a school system where no matter where they went or lived in the county, they were all top performing schools.
And they were willing to do the commute just to have their children in those good schools.
Absolutely. So I see that there's evidence everywhere across the country that investing in public education is an economic engine that can't be ignored because it does impact the economy. And guys like Steve Leonard and Randy Day at Purdue and Sandy Angelo at Pohanka will tell you one of the first questions, if it's not the first, it's the second,
right,
that's asked by top-level management and executives that they're trying to recruit to work for their companies is what's the public education system like in Wicomico County?
Right.
And Steve, to his credit, they all don't diminish it, but they all sometimes have to dance around what's happening. And we have such disparities in the schools in Salisbury as opposed to West Side and some of the other ones outside of the city that we need to do universal investment, and that's universal pre-K. Some money was allocated last year in the budget thanks to the council. I want to see our executive take the lead. I'd love to see our county executive make his legacy. The guy that eliminated MOE is the accepted way to invest in public education.
Right.
And I've told him that personally. I've said, Bob, you can tilt the arrow in a way that it'll never regress, that MOE will never even be in the conversation, that we'll look at every year at ways we can continue to invest in the school system. You know, Donna has a vision similar to the vision of Montgomery County. We had their superintendent here speaking to us a few months ago, Jack Smith. And that is closing the achievement gap, offering the best and brightest teachers, recruiting them here and keeping them here. Last year I attended the new teacher breakfast, and the question was asked, how many of you see yourself being in Wicomico County in 5 years? And half of those 125 teachers said, I don't see myself here in 5 years.
Yeah.
We have to reverse that. Teachers need to be part of the community. We need to invest in them. And yeah, I've been told by people in the county, hey, we're not doing so bad. We're about midway.
Right.
We're about midway on the salary scales for teachers. Why can't we move that needle forward? Why can't we be in the top 10?
Right.
We have a shortage of teachers nationwide. They'll teach in a jurisdiction that invests in education.
Exactly.
And businesses will invest in a community and a jurisdiction when they see the checkbook has education as a top priority. So I think the business community and the organization community has found that to be our salvation. We have competition. We can sit back and sleep, and we can say we've got a lost generation of children in places in our city and our county, and it'll never change, and I've heard that from smart people.
Right.
Or we can say, it's worth saving one. We can save a kid by investing in pre-K, by investing in resources in the schools, by investing in what happens in the academic environment. And yeah, bricks and mortar are great. I've heard that. I'm tired of it. 97% of the construction costs are paid by the state. Let's focus on what's happening inside the bricks and mortar.
Yeah, I feel like we're on our way to good capital spending, and I have to give Bob Culver credit. The two Bennett projects were bloody fights. People still don't speak to each other over Bennett Middle. They're so mad. Bob kind of stepped in a little bit with West Salisbury when he first took office, and I was waiting, just gripping the rails for the Beaver Run fight. There's not going to be a Beaver Run fight. I
don't think so. I have a lot of credit to the county executive in that I think Bob recognizes the importance of investing in public education.
Right. He
just had, as he's told me, and he's right, this is not characteristic to our community, there are competing interests. We have public safety needs. We're trying to invest in, again, garnering tourism and those kinds of economic opportunities. You're at the airport. I get it. I get there's competing needs.
Right.
But, education has to be right up there at the top. And if we just bump it a little every year, we'll look back on the conversation we're having, and we'll look back on what's happening in Wicomico County in 2018 when we're at 2025 or 28, and we'll all agree we did the right thing.
Pre-K is going to make a big difference. You can see already what it's done in Somerset.
Correct.
That was forced down there because things were so bad, where it's more optional for us. But it's going to be a great thing.
It is, and it's not glorified babysitting. And
Right.
I've heard some smart people say that to me as well. And I know that we only have these kids 8 hours a day, then they go home. And if there's no support in the home, that doesn't help a child's development. But this is an opportunity to get kids that would never have that step up, to give them that step up. Because, the highest dropout rate is 9th grade.
Right.
These kids muddle through elementary and middle, and then they're so far behind when they start high school, that's where the dropouts occur.
Right.
So we need to look at that. We need to raise graduation rates. So all of this investment will, I think, bear fruit when we look at this 5 to 10 years from now, because we'll see dropout rates decrease and we'll see graduation rates increase. And I think we'll see test scores, the bane of many educators. But I think testing is important. I think we'll see test scores incrementally begin to rise as well. And I think we'll see kids ready for kindergarten,
Right.
which is at less than 50% now. I think we'll see in 10 years that astounding increase in kids that are ready for kindergarten.
You're new to the community. How do you like it here?
We love it here. My wife and I love it here. Everyone's been warm and inviting. It's been a complete blessing to be here. I had someone in Calvert County ask me a few weeks ago, would you ever come back? And I said, I love you. I love everyone over there, but no, this is my home. This is where my kids will end up having to change my diapers when I'm whatever age.
Do you feel that you've made a difference? Can you feel it?
I don't. Honestly, Greg, I don't even think about stuff like that. If I were retired living here in Wicomico County, I think my passion for the community and public education investment would be no different than in my role at the Chamber of Commerce. I'd just be John Q. Citizen instead of having the blessing of 700 businesses and organizations as members of the Chamber that help support the efforts.
Right.
So,
and how's it going? How is the Chamber? How are the businesses doing out there?
we're organically growing. I think our growth is due in large part now to the fact that we are more out there in terms of advocacy. Not only advocacy for talking about education, but advocacy when it comes to Annapolis, not forgetting where we are down here.
Yeah.
We lost we didn't lose because I think our new senator is going to be great, but we lost a Democratic voice in Annapolis that had very close ties with the leadership in Annapolis. So
we're still reeling a little bit from losing Delegate Conway, I think.
I agree with that, yes.
And, Senator Mathias was at the center of every table up there.
He was. And we need to reinforce not only with the governor, I think we know his folks are on board, but with the Senate President and the House leadership that we're here and we don't want our attention drawn in other places. We get the dynamic in Annapolis. We get that both houses, the Senate and the House, are still Democratic-controlled houses. We get that. But we want to be sure that our voice and our needs here are continued to be addressed, and I think it will be. I think guys like Mike Miller and Mike Bush recognize the importance of agriculture and the shore. They have constituencies they have to deal with on the far right and the far left, so I know they have to find middle ground. But we will be communicating the chamber and the Greater Salisbury Committee and others, communicating personally with the leadership here in the next month before the session starts to ask them to continue to support the initiatives that are taking place here.
All right, let's plug the event again, December 7th.
December 7th at Salisbury University, 8 to 2. The fun part of the event is at 12:45. We have our entire delegation there for Q&A on what's coming up in the 2019 session. And, there'll be questions about employer mandates. We'll have questions about support of agriculture. There was a bill last year introduced by a Montgomery County senator that could have been detrimental to the poultry industry here. Why someone from Montgomery County does this is beyond me. They have one poultry operation in the county, but that's the kind of stuff we need to stay on top of, and we'll have a presence there. But that Q&A will be very telling. We've got Wayne Hartman's delegate-elect, Mary Beth's our senator-elect, everybody else serve. So we'll ask some questions. Craft beer, another important issue for Maryland. So there'll be some tough questions for them. We don't throw them any softballs, but
I love it when you write the column for my paper every year, which outlines what's going on in Annapolis. It's so informative, and it helps me take a viewpoint, on whether I support the measure or not. You're able to steer me in a business sense. So I look forward to reading that in our paper. That's going to be fun.
well, I'm looking forward to writing it. And our initiative as a chamber is to create jobs and economic vitality. Period. Whatever does that, that's what our focus is.
He's Bill Chambers. He is CEO of the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce, and we were thrilled to have him here today. Thanks for being here, Bill.
Thank you very much, Greg. Appreciate it.
I'm Greg Bassett from the Salisbury Independent Newspaper. Another edition of 101 right here on PAC 14.
First Shore Federal is proud to support PAC 14 and one-on-one. We'd encourage every business to support PAC 14 and pick a program and support it, and let's make a difference.